Hey there. If you're a dog owner, you've probably had that little moment of panic. You look over and your best friend is shaking or trembling, and you have no idea why. It's super common, but the reasons can be anything from totally okay to a real emergency. So let's get into it and figure out what our dogs are trying to tell us.
I mean, it's a sight that'll stop you in your tracks, right? A sudden shiver, a shaky leg, that little uncontrollable tremble. Are they excited? Are they scared? Are they just cold? Or is it something else? We're going to break it all down.
Okay, first things first, let's start with the good news. A lot of the time, a little bit of shaking is a perfectly normal part of being a dog. So before we jump to the scary stuff, let's talk about the everyday reasons your dog might be trembling. It's funny how much dogs are like us in this way. They shiver when they're cold, of course, especially the little guys or dogs with short hair. But they also shake from pure happiness when you grab the leash, or from fear during a big thunderstorm. Heck, even their muscles can get tired and shaky after a really good game of fetch. And this quote right here, it really hits the nail on the head when we're talking about fear. When your dog is trembling during fireworks, it's not because they're broken. It's an instinct kicking in. It's a natural, adaptive response to something they think is a threat. The trick is just to recognize what's causing it and give them some comfort. But sometimes shaking has nothing to do with feelings or the weather. Sometimes it's a physical signal. Trembling can actually be one of the most common signs that a dog is in pain, and it's one that's really easy to overlook. So here's where you gotta be a detective. You need to watch where the shaking is happening. Is your dog actively and, intentionally shaking their head? That's usually them trying to get something out of their ear, like water or an irritation from an allergy. But if their body is trembling without them controlling it, those are involuntary muscle movements, and that points to something deeper going on.
And as our dogs get into their golden years, you might start to see the shaking specifically in their back legs. It's really tempting to just write it off as, oh, they're just getting old, but it's a very specific symptom that could be a clue to some common senior dog issues.
This chart breaks it down so well. If you see those back legs shaking, it could absolutely be arthritis making their joints sore. It could just be muscle weakness, making it tough for them to stand still. Or it could be a sign of pain or even a neurological issue. So you have to look for other clues. Are they avoiding the stairs? Are they stumbling a little? Those details are so important.
All right, now for something really interesting that a lot of people don't know about. For some dogs, the tendency to shake is literally written into their DNA. Certain breeds are actually prone to specific conditions called tremor syndromes. So check this out. Ever heard of white shaker dog syndrome? Well, that's a real thing. It's GTS, and you see it a lot in small white dogs like Westies and Maltese. Then there's shaking puppy syndrome, which can show up in breeds like Bernese Mountain Dogs just a few weeks after they're born. And Dobermans and Bulldogs can get these weird head tremors that look like they're nodding yes or no over and over. It's all in the genes.
Okay, let's shift gears, because this next part is maybe the most critical section in this whole explainer. While a lot of shaking is manageable, some of it is a sign of a true emergency that needs immediate, and I mean immediate action. Knowing these red flags could literally save your dog's life. And I want to just pause here for a second because this is the single most important message. If your dog's shaking is sudden, severe, and it's happening along with other scary symptoms, please don't wait. Don't go searching online for answers. Your very first move should be to call your vet or an emergency clinic right away.
One of the biggest emergencies is poisoning. So many things we have around the house are incredibly toxic to dogs. Xylitol, that sugar substitute in things like gum and even some peanut butters, is a huge one. But also chocolate, caffeine, human medications, rat poison, all of these can cause terrible, uncontrolled tremors and seizures. This is a question that causes so much anxiety, and for good reason. So how do you tell the difference? We'll look at the key differences here. If they're dreaming, their little legs might twitch, but you can easily wake them up by just saying their name. A seizure is completely different. Their body will go rigid, the shaking is violent, and they will be totally unresponsive. Afterwards, they'll almost always be confused and disoriented. And the list of serious causes goes on. The distemper virus, especially in puppies, can cause tremors. Really low blood sugar can do it, which is common in toy breeds. Even things like kidney disease or a deadly condition like bloat can have shaking as a symptom. The key takeaway here is that with these serious issues, the shaking is rarely the only thing you'll see. Okay, we've gone over the simple stuff and the really scary stuff. So now, what do you actually do when you see your dog start to shake? Let's walk through a clear, simple plan so you can respond calmly instead of panicking.
This 4-step plan is your go-to guide. First, just observe. What's going on? Second, and this is a total game changer for your vet, pull out your phone and record a short video. It is so much easier to show them what's happening than to try and describe it. Third, comfort them. A warm blanket, a calm voice. And finally, number 4, know when it's time to call the vet. If it's bad, if it won't stop, or if it's paired with any of those other red flags, just make the call. When it comes right down to it, your dog's shaking is a message. It's a physical clue that something is going on, whether it's in their head, their environment, or their body. By watching closely and knowing what to look for, you stop being just a worried owner and you become their best advocate. So the real question is, what is your dog trying to tell you?